Okay, hello. Sorry, this took a moment. Okay, this is number, I don't know how many of these we have done so far.
4 or 5.
So this is our Tuesday relationship talk in warm-up for our growing growing collaborative partnership workshop, which is going to start in March.
March 16th.
March 16th. It's gonna be 6 week long, a live workshop. Every Saturday we meet with our community. It's now 23 couples, so we have
24.
24
We had to
couples.
sign up this morning.
It's amazing. So it's already 48 people in there. So it's gonna be really, the energy is gonna be pumping.
Pumping.
And I just came back from San Francisco, and we had like a full-on week behind us with a lot of learning. Thank you. And today we want to share a little bit about this. So if you're interested in joining our workshop and learn more about healthy relationship and especially, I think this is like our work is really for people who are in relationship, who are big feelers, people with a lot of emotion, and maybe like right now you don't know if you have a lot of emotion because you may be like mostly fighting, because that can happen. If you have a lot of emotion, we get into fights a lot. And we really teach on the subject of like, how do you fight well? Like, how do you have a fight that is ending with it has a happy ending, so to say, like is
Creates more connection, more
Mhm.
intimacy with each other, not,
And deeper understanding, right?
yeah.
Like we love fights, but we don't love repeating fights, like where it's always you're fighting about the same stuff and you never get to a resolution, right? Then there's no growth. Then we're just stagnant and we're like grinding in the same holes.
Mm.
Um, and today, because we had just like a really full on week, I was in San Francisco. We met some other people, and it was very intense and interesting, and big experiences happened, big learning has happened. And so after after that, okay, there is something we call a come down. And this is really like anything, especially if you are a big feeler, this can happen for you at any place where you have a big experience. There's a come down, okay? Like we go up the roller coaster, we like celebrate, we have a good time, we learn something, we grow into new people, and then afterwards, you might have noticed this, there's like you have a dip, okay? Like the same way when you go out for some drinks with your friends, you have a hangover, okay? It's kind of like similar, but just that if you are a sober person, you can have these experiences, these come downs also based on just your nervous system getting expanded. Okay.
And this can happen even if you haven't had a big experience together. So it could be that like one of you has a work trip and then the other one comes home and you're reintegrating back into life together. There's an experience of coming down for both of you. Or it could be one of you has a really intense call with a parent or with like something in your individual life, but you still have to like from the rise of energy, it could be good, bad, whatever, it doesn't matter, just like a highly charged experience, you still have to come down from it. So it could be a co-rising experience or it could be just one of us, but there is always energy that goes up, must come down.
And also like so I want to bring in the topic of like in the world of like some of you maybe like are familiar with that world and some of you maybe just like familiar through like things like what is it, 50 Shades of Grey, those kind of like books, right? If you have, if you are familiar with like the BDSM world, for example, or like the kink world, in that world they talk about aftercare. It's really like you
I don't
have
even know if that term was in that movie.
probably not because that movie is very much just a
Theatrical
theatrical
performance.
chic version of the real thing. But oh, my mic is off. Um,
Keep going.
But really, aftercare is basically like it's basically that. It's like you have a scene, you have an experience with your partner, maybe one, definitely not in that movie. Yeah. maybe like one of you holds the other person. Like before this call, actually, we just like did some emotional release exercises, okay? And in that exercise, I was holding Sasha through the exercise. And so I was the holder, she was the one who got to like surrender into being held. And after those experiences, it's very common that you have some kind of like,
I'm gonna unplug this.
yes,
It's
go
not
for it.
working.
You have some kind of emotional come down from this, okay? And in the past, we would not be aware how often we would have this kind of come down. Like I get a work call and get a message from someone turning down a job, okay? You're gonna have a come down. Okay, there's like just a dip in your feelings. And we want to talk a little bit about how to recognize this. First of all, this is actually your call to like recognize this, that like your partner or yourself, we always have expectations of like we need to show up this way or we need to like hit these goals. But really, if we are aware more of our nervous system, then we actually know what is the next thing that really needs to happen. And often we overlook the amount of self-care that is required and the amount of come down time that is required.
So what we want to talk about today is how to support each other when you're in that period of come down, or really any time that you feel like you want support from your partner, that you feel you want backing, you want connection, you like looking to your partner to help you. And a lot of times we're like, well, I don't know what I need. And so we want to give some specific examples of some tools that we have used and that have supported us in really getting those needs met, even in that moment when we both are feeling like, well, I don't know how to ask for the help. Like allowing the other one in to support you is really important. Yeah, a really important tool to have in your toolkit, and something that we're going to be addressing in our collaborative partnership workshop.
Yeah, and especially in this workshop also, here's something that we talked about yesterday. I think Sasha was listening to another teacher talk about this, about how when your partner comes down, how for a woman, like that's really a common pattern. Like if I go down, for example, there's this pattern where Sasha would be like, "Oh no, like he's having a feeling.
He's in
Like
pain.
he's in pain, right?
Now I need to do something about it. It's my responsibility to like,
And you did something wrong, right?
yeah, I think a lot of times as a woman, I very quick to make it about me and think that your pain is because I did something, or to feel the pain for you. And I think this happens for a lot of women unconsciously. We start to like feel pain because our partner's in pain, and we're like, I can't be happy because he's unhappy. So I have to sit in this pain channel until he comes out of it. And like, we can't have good things and like joyful experiences in the room, or in the room of our relationship, but even literally in the room, until he's in a different state. And then what happens from there is that it I become something else that he has to hold, because I'm like, oh no, I'm in pain that you're in pain, and like I'm insecure that you're in a difficult place. And that it can be really vulnerable and edgy as a woman to be in my internal safety and to be in my internal steadiness and joy, even when my partner is feeling pain or coming down or in a more retracted place, that I think I'm wrong if I'm okay when he's not okay, because I have a lot of conditioning, a lot of stories that say I need to feel what he's feeling. That's like a way that I save you and protect you from your experiences, right? It's like a lot of desire to be the savior for my partner. Again, not consciously, but my conditioning is like whispering in my ear, like, this is what's needed to be a good woman. And then all of a sudden I'm doing it, and I don't even realize that I've like slipped into this pattern, right? And then it's having a big impact on him.
Right. And it's really like if you go down that road, where it leads you to is resentment. Because now what we heard yesterday, that teachers say, and I'm sure they have much more to say, but it's just like one sentence we picked up was like for the woman to like stay in your joy, stay out, stay happy, right? And
Not a performance of happy,
well,
but like you're genuine.
actually I want to go there for a moment
Okay.
to that performance, because here's the thing: if you hear us say do this, right, your brain will take it as like I need to do this,
This is
right?
an instruction.
Right, it's an instruction. And now, like next time my partner is down, I'm gonna do this. But the problem with this is if you do this as a performance, you're gonna like there's a subtle way of like I'm doing this so that my partner starts to change again. And if they don't change, I get resentful because eventually I'm like, well, fuck this. Like I've been like making such good like effort to like make you happy again, and you are like blah 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 blah. I'm not showing up in the way that I would like you to show up, right? And it comes from like a place of like I see my partner suffering and I want them to change. Why? Because it makes me feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And now what Sasha said before is like it's like if she is like collapsing in that spot, then I'm holding her now, which also then eventually I'm like if I start to extend out of my down to hold her, right? If I don't have boundaries here, then I get resentful. Where will that lead us? To like a big fight, right? Like we will start to like get tight with each other. Maybe like we start to resent the experiences that we've had, and we will try to like shut down or not allow those anymore because we know where it leads, right? It leads us to like fight with each other. Yeah. Now, it was a great opportunity yesterday because you shared this thing with me that like I could actually say what I need in that space. And this is really where that shift comes in. Like, what do I need, or what does she need when she goes down, right? And I said to her, like, well, when I go down, when I had a big experience, okay, and now I'm coming home, and what happens to me usually is like I feel like I can be like I can come across very confident, very like, okay, like I'm here, ready, I'm holding stuff, I'm building things, I have the world like pushed on top of me, right? Like, but if I go through something really big and I come down, I become like a really like little scared animal. Like I like roll into my blankets and I'm like, "Wah." I love to eat a lot of chocolate, okay? And
If you're in your blankets, rolled up and eating chocolate right now, you might be coming down.
you might
Big
be coming
experience.
down. Mm-hmm. Or if you feel like you would like to be in your blankets, but you actually at work and trying to push really hard, you might be avoiding your come down,
In
really.
your feelings.
Right. And now the thing that I really appreciate in that space is I have like one core belief that I've been working with my entire life, and that's the belief like I'm unlovable. I'm no one loves me, okay? Now, I'm very aware of that if I'm like in my prime energy, okay? But if I'm in my come down, that voice can get louder and it can get very convincing. Okay, and then
The comment someone said,
yeah.
dead.
It's so nailed. So now one thing, okay, that like I actually actively tell my partner is like, hey, it feels really good for me if you remind me that you love me, or remind me that like it's okay for me to like be collapsed in the bed and be dead and not be like the producer of every single fucking good in the world today, okay? And if I don't tackle every single problem that we are facing today, but it's okay for me to actually like rest, okay? You are still loved even if you rest. Okay, very, very powerful and important one. And then another one, I actually don't want her to make this effort to be like joyful and happy. But what I really love is if she just comes and like sits next to me. Okay, she doesn't have to say anything, just be present, watch one of my really ridiculous, stupid shows with me. Okay, or bring me a snack, maybe more chocolate or some cheese. I love cheese.
He does love cheese. I just wanted to say that yesterday, like you shared this with me. We came up with this topic
No, I
because
can let go.
yesterday he genuinely shared this desire of how he wants to be taken care of and held by me, with me, in connection to me. And in the moment of him sharing it in like a super sweet, like we weren't, neither of us was down. There wasn't a problem happening. He was just like, here's a way I like for you to be with me. And in my head, I was like, I had this little tape that was like, um, oh, here's a list of all the places where he wanted this from you and you didn't do it. And I wanted to go into making myself so wrong for not perfectly um being with him in the way that he was so generously sharing with me. He was providing clarity of how he wants me to show up with him. And instead of receiving that clarity and being like, thank you so much for telling me, I was in my head not receiving him and like thinking about like how maybe I had done it wrong. And so what wanted to come out of my mouth was defensiveness. What wanted to come out of my mouth was like, well, I did it correctly last week. And I actually even said that not in an intense way, but I was like, well, I think I've been getting better at that. And like tried to like slide some defensiveness under the door, right? And be like, here you go. Like, but wait, like, aren't I doing good? Aren't I good? Like creature, woman, like so afraid that his generous share meant I was wrong. I wanted to turn that into me being wrong. So I'm sharing this because that happened in like 0.02 seconds. And I caught myself in the moment. And I was like, okay, I want to be open. I want to receive this man. I don't actually want to block him. I don't actually want to block the love that he's offering me right now. It's so generous and so loving for him
There's
to
so
say,
loving.
here is how I want you to be with me when I'm in this painful place that looks like, don't touch me, don't come, I don't want anyone here. But actually, he does want connection. And he so vulnerably expressed that. And so for me to be able to be in reception to that and say, thank you so much for telling me how you want me to be with you there. And I had to even say, tell me again in the future. I actually want this information, right? It's so easy to be like, it's uncomfortable to hear where I might have maybe done it wrong. And so like, don't tell me again because instructions mean I'm wrong. No, instructions are an opportunity for me to be successful with him.
Right.
So I had to really like ground, breathe, feel my body, right? And connect, feel my heart, feel my womb, feel my genitals. I don't think I can say the P word on the internet, but if I could, I would say that I would feel all of my body and drop in and say, oh my God, my body actually feels so much relaxation in hearing how he wants me to be with him. Then I don't have to perform pretend joy. And not that I think what I was reading, I think is a good point of where we go to being in pain when our partner is in pain, and that we don't need to do that, and that it's not in service to the relationship, it's not in service to the depth and the intimacy here.
Right.
But there's a deeper thing available when I can be grateful for the support you provided and how to support you.
Right. And this is not like a one-sided thing. Like we use this example because it's like the closest right now that's happening in our life, but it's the other way around too. Like we basically like constantly see like who's coming down right now and how can we provide care and support for that person, right? And here's the thing, the person not coming down, there's also a really great word in that world that I talked about before, in the BDSM world, for example, which is service, okay? Like, if you are the one who's actually becoming aware that your partner is coming down, this is an awesome opportunity to step into service. And there's a fetish out there. There's people who are like looking for other people that they can serve. Why? Because it's literally, it's one of the most powerful ways that you can step out of your production mind, out of your cortex mind, out of your like logical thinking mind that we like always cultivate by like being in the offices and reading books and constantly consuming information, right? And everybody knows if you do that constantly, you end up somewhat numb. I'm numb. I don't know why. But it's to step into service and actually serve somebody who is coming down. the reason why it's so powerful is it has us attuned to where they are, which means I need to actually open up to feel them. And they are somewhat assisting me to get back into a feeling state. And literally for some people, this is the way to access God, okay? This is the way to really like be touching places of like enlightenment again, okay? So there's gold in any position to be in. It's like the one coming down is the one surrendering, the one serving is the one who's like starting to open up to the body again, okay? Now you will go and be in your body, you will have a come down next, obviously, because it's a constant flowing rotation. And this is why this is so beautiful. This is why this is like literally a dance. And taking a breath.
Do you want to talk about
Yeah,
my example? Or just
No, I think I wanna cap it here. And
okay.
in
If you
the
want more.
upcoming workshop, this is what I'm gonna talk about now. In the upcoming workshop, okay, this is what I was saying before. Like sometimes when you guys hear us, okay, and you're gonna think like, oh yeah, this is how you do it. And it's not, okay? This is not a formula. This is literally like I open to be coming down and I'm in tune and I'm in my intuition. What do I need? Okay, it's getting in touch with like really, really subtle, deep parts of ourselves. This is literally like you're practicing magic with doing that, okay? This is the internal magic. This is the internal meditation of understanding who you are. And you get to know more and more about yourself the more you practice this. And in our workshop, in these 6 weeks, what we do is, because you learned a lot, but here's the thing, working in a community with people and us sitting with you and helping you, where is the trail of breadcrumbs? Where does it start and where does it lead? Like we literally help you actually like understand and get to the point of really understanding your body and deciphering and decoding some of those things together in community. It's so much fun. And
I want to add one thing before you say the end. I just want to speak to the fact that everything that we do, everything that we talked about today, if something resonated for you, if something triggered you, if something was exciting or uncomfortable or taboo, or made you want to know everything we have to say and more, there's healing available in this work. The work that we do and the reason that we do it and we're so committed to it is because there's so much healing available in your life from looking at and working with these places that we are not taught in relationship how to do some of this stuff. We are not, like, from our parents and from our education around what is intimacy and what is relationship, like there are not great tools out there unless you've done a lot of personal development work and a lot of spiritual work and a lot of work around your sexuality and a lot of looking at the old things that were stuck. We put all of this together and we find that when you start to unlock these little places that you are maybe a little nervous, a little scared to go into, there's so much healing available for yourself, for your relationship, and for the world. It actually really, really changes things. And so this is why we do the work we do. This is why we're offering our class completely for free. It's free the whole 6 week, no strings attached. You don't have to do anything. It's just a gift from us to you to come and learn and fill up and be in community and learn about your relationship and learn about yourself and your partner.
Yeah, amazing. So you can actually be like in a field of love. Like what I often say is like people know this kind of love from their honeymoon period, right? And like what this really is like you do the work to make the honeymoon period actually your constant state of being with each other. Okay, if you're interested, sign up on our website. It's kirkmanhoodcoaching.com. Link is in the bios, in the comments, and in the description of the video. And then we'll see you again to the next talk next Tuesday, every Tuesday, 10 a.m. Pacific time. And thank you for tuning in.
The workshop starts March 16th. So if you're not already registered, go ahead and get registered and we'll send you the welcome email.
Right. And I'm also going to upload this talk on YouTube. So if you want to show it to a friend or your partner, then stay tuned. Or text me and I can send you the link.
Okay. Great day.